Alright, so far our weapon looks somewhat like this. Doesn't appear to be much right now, but we have two of these rectangular pieces glued together and two of these pieces like this. Ultimately, what you'll be doing is you'll glue both pieces of these rectangular pieces on top of the two that is already glued like so, and that sort of becomes your weapon. So basically what you want to do is you want to figure out how this core can actually go into this weapon. So essentially what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and hollow out the two pieces that are together so that it fits the core nicely. Alright, so to make room for this rod, what I'll need to do is I'll hollow out the center of these two pieces together, and the way I do that is I put my PVC pipe over the foam, and I basically traced out the lines of the PVC pipe. Notice again I left a little bit of space above here so to have a little bit of cushion. This is the part that's actually going to be very important. When you actually draw the line, trace out the line, you want to make sure that you're actually getting as close to the PVC pipe as you can, because after you cut out the center, you want to make it so it's tight enough to fit the core, because if it's too wide, there won't be a very nice glue and your weapon will break from the inside, and that's not very good. So now that I got the lines drawn, I basically just have to go ahead and cut it out. I have to cut through two layers of it, so let's go ahead and do that. Once I get that cut out, simply go ahead and pull out the center like so. And you can even see, so this is how the rod is going to fit in fairly nicely, so that way it will be nice and padded. Alright, so you can see that the weapon is starting to take shape. It still doesn't look like much right now, but at least you have a pretty good idea what's probably going to happen. We have these two outer layer pieces and a inside double layer that is hollowed out. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and glue this piece to that piece with that, making it kind of like a tray. And we're going to go ahead and fit the rod inside of this tray, and we're going to go ahead and glue this other layer on top, making it kind of like a little sandwich for your PVC pipe, and that will actually be the very base of your weapon. Okay, so let's start doing that first. So we're going to go ahead and DAP this side to this side. So again, how do we do that? Well, with DAP you have to put glue on both sides, let it sit, and then you can go ahead and glue them together. So what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to go ahead and use these throwaway brushes and just coat both sides of this with DAP. And after I put DAP on, what do? Wait about 20 minutes for the DAP to dry. Once the DAP is dried, you'll be able to go ahead and glue both sides of it together. It's been 20 minutes or so. I'm going to glue the two surfaces together. I'm touching the surfaces where the DAP went on, and it's not getting on my hand, which meant that it's ready. So in order to do this, what I'm doing is I'm basically matching the edges to the edges to make sure that I get a nice, as exact as I can. If it's not completely exact, well, you have to do your best. The more exact this is, the better your weapon will look, and the longer it will function. Alright, so as you can see, I've glued it together. There's a nice hollowed out tray now where the PVC pipe is going to be. Let's test it out one more time. pretty tight fit. That's what you'll want, because if it's too loose, then again, there's not going to be a very good bond, and your weapon will most likely break from the inside. If it's too tight, then the weapon won't fit. But since foam will actually stretch, it's better that it's tighter rather than looser. So now what you want to do is you want to glue everything. You want to put glue on the on this side, on the insides. You want to put glue on all around your core, and then you want to put glue on here so that you can actually close it up together. So that's what we'll be doing next. We'll be putting glue on there, inside, on the rod, on this side, and then once you do that, we'll wait 20 minutes, put it all together. Alright, so I gave it some time. It should be drier now, and what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and put this rod inside the slot here. I'm actually waiting so that it's not as dry, so that way I can actually be able to slot it in, because if it's been too long, it would actually be too dry and the glue will adhere too quickly. So right now, hopefully it will still be good. So now it's in there, nice and tight. I'll go ahead and put the upper layer on top of that. And if you haven't gotten glue on your fingers, now is probably the time that you will. Okay, so that's basically what your weapon looks like right now. We're not quite done, but I would say the hardest part is now over. We're going to go ahead and let it sit for about 24 hours before we get to the next part, just to make sure all this inside gets dried up first before we do anything else with it. So what I recommend is get some paperweight, weight it down so that it glues to your core, and we'll pick this up tomorrow.